Hey, happy Tuesday, sixth graders. It is February 9th, and in class, we're going to go quickly over the Super Bowl challenge. In class and on the video, we are going to finish the crossover. So we're going to cross the finish line today. It's always cool to finish a book. Always a little sad. Always for me. I don't like finishing books because if I like them, it's kind of like, oh, it's over. Um, Remind you of the weird schedule. So Monday, obviously yesterday was normal. Today is normal. Tomorrow kind of is normal, except we do have conferences. So I know at least three sixth graders' parents have conferences with me. Um, so it's a day where you're catching up in your work, but I'm working pretty late, just meeting with people all day. Thursday is a normal day, and then things get wonky because Friday is no school because we're making up for the day where we work till 8. Monday is no school because it's President's Day. Tuesday is no school because we are sitting here planning, getting you ready for coming back, some of you. Wednesday, no school either, technically, because those days are set aside by the state of Minnesota to plan. So Thursday is your last day this week, and then your next day of school is next Thursday. I don't love that. That's a long time, and it's going to feel like a break. So I might be thinking about something, not to give you as homework, but as it give you a chance to do something at least to work the brain a little bit. If you come back after another week, that's like a spring break that we didn't have scheduled. So anyway, there's our list of people who were, if you didn't make the cut, actually no one did. Our best bets were Camden guessed the right score for the Buccaneers. Landon had the closest score for the Chiefs, but nobody wins, and that's actually normal. It's a pretty impossible thing. Prepositions is what we went through yesterday. I'm going to remind you that they were actually, you guys did an okay job. I think one of the things I saw that you struggle with, sorry, is that you guys are mixing up like verbs again, and conjunctions. These words that I used yesterday, this list, these are the words that make a preposition. And is not a preposition. It's not. And neither is a verb. Like if it's an action word. Some of you were like putting words like went to the store as an extra piece of information. That's not a preposition. That's a verb tied to a noun. So we'll talk about this again, probably next, I guess Thursday, because today the really focus is to read the crossover. So today you're going to change the order. You're watching this video second because hopefully the first thing you did was watch the end of the book. And just to review a couple of things, your questions. A lot of you are asking about the word the phrase jump ship. If you remember, Josh was saying to his dad, hey, don't jump ship. And he was in his coma. Jump ship is meaning, basically, it comes from the term when a boat is sinking, you have a decision to go down with it because it literally creates like a vacuum and it could pull you down, or to jump off before it's sinking. And then you don't get caught in that, the ship bringing you down. So people who jump ship are jumping into the water to kind of get off a sinking ship. And what he's saying that to his dad is that, don't jump ship. Your body is failing you. Don't quit. Don't die. That's what he means by that. And then that becomes a statement that his dad remembers when he wakes up, and it's kind of a big deal. So that idea of jump ship is don't give up. Stay with it. It's going to be okay. And then as you listen to the story today, it's not. Another people said what is meant by double dip in the bowl. That has a couple of meanings. That was the description of when JB was playing the game, and he says, "Any double dip in the bowl." So basically, if you think about the bowl is, when you double dip, you're not supposed to take a chip, put it in the bowl, bite it, and then dip again because your germs get into the bowl. That's double dipping. It's rude. He's using it as an example to describe what JB did. He stole the ball in the game. He was on his own, and then he double dips in the bowl. He dunked. So the bowl is the net, right? The net, the hoop, and he dunked as it was kind of like a slap in the face of the other team. So it was a rude move. And lastly, John Coltrane was mentioned today in the final chapters. And it was, that's John Coltrane, another famous jazz musician. If you think about all the names, Dizzy Gillespie, John Coltrane, Ray Charles, there's been a lot of old school music here. And if you don't know it, then you're missing out on a lot of references. I think you should go listen to it. It's beautiful music. All right, now on to the work for today. The only assignment from today is a little longer. I'm going to push you a little bit. We've been doing real quick, taking some notes and doing some work in class, and then also doing some work with questions. So really basic stuff. Just keep you moving, keep the brain moving. I'm going to have you go a little further, and we're going to try to write a solid 5-sentence paragraph, like an essay style paragraph. So we finished the book, and I want you to think about what we heard. Kwame Alexander is a writer, and we've been talking about writer's craft. So down here, I want you to look at these options. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have alliteration as 1, metaphors and similes as 2, writing it big about small moments. That's when we did that even where we had a character stress about something that seemed small to them, seemed big to them, but small to other people, and really describe it. We did that. Word choice, we talked about that, like choosing better words. And then rhyming, we also did some work with rhyming. We did all this stuff in our lessons. It's in your notebooks. What I want you to do is think about which one do you think Kwame Alexander excelled at the most. He did all of this. I know he did. I can document that with all the stuff I read. But I want you to write a very formulaic paragraph. So I'm going to give you the frame. You're just going to kind of fill in the blanks, but it's got to make sense. So don't just fill in the blanks like this is a worksheet. You're writing, so you've got to make sure you read it out loud. And if it doesn't sound right, then change it. So here's the frame. In the verse novel, The Crossover, it seems that Kwame Alexander focused on the writer's tool of, that's where you pick one of these, okay? For example, in the part of the story where, now you have to describe some part of the story, Alexander wrote, and then you have to use a quote, and you have to use a quote with quotes. If you're going to use it directly from the text, you got to put quotes around it because it's not your writing, it's someone else's. This shows, and again, this shows this right here, alliteration, metaphors, and similes, writing about big, smaller moments, word choice, rhyming, because, and then you got to explain, how does it? Prove to me that you can recognize what's going on there. Then you do it again. And in another example in the part of the story where blank, Alexander wrote, right? Okay. This shows blank because blank. So you're doing it twice. There's I'm making a statement. There's your topic sentence right here. And then it seems that he's using this. Then you're going to prove it. That's your basic formula for the rest of your life on an average essay-like paragraph. Now, what it looked like is this. Everything in red is what I added. Okay, so here we go. So I got rid of 2, 3, 4, and 5. I focused on alliteration. That's why I used red. In the verse novel, The Crossover, it seems that Kwame Alexander focused on the writer's tool of alliteration. For example, in the part of the story where Josh is describing how it feels to play his game, this is the part that I added right there, right? I'm describing, that's where I remember that part of the story. Alexander wrote, and then I would write down the part that he wrote that shows alliteration. And then I would go and explain it. This shows alliteration because the blank sound is repeated in blank, 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 and blank, and blank. So I'm illustrating for me, your reader, exactly how it shows alliteration. And another example, in the part of the story where Josh is describing having dinner with Alexis, Miss Sweet Tweet, at his house, again, this is me giving you some background on where I got this. Alexander wrote blank, 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 blank. So that, again, there's my quote. I pull out his words exactly. This shows more alliteration because the blank sound is repeated, blah, 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 blah. So there we go. All the red is what I would have added to this formula, okay? Now, this is up to you. You're going to have to do a little bit of thinking and a little bit of work. You are 6th graders moving, and we're over the halfway point, so you're closer to being 7th graders now. You've got to try to explain this, and I've given you the formula. So you got to think your way out of this box. Now, so here's a couple final steps. You may write this out in your notebook and take a photo of your work. You could do that. I've got to be able to read it. And I want it to be good writing. So if I see a bunch of blanks and scribbles, I'm going to give it back to you and say, not good enough. You may write this out in the create a submission box of Schoology. So you could go to that little plus sign in Schoology and then write just in there. But don't just write a bunch of, like, make sure you read it over before you submit. Come on, we got to get to the point where you're writing something that looks like a writer and not just a little kid wrote a bunch of words and submitted as an assignment just to get it done. I'm done with that. No more of that. We're moving into like 7th-ish grade-ish. You may write this out in a Google Doc and share the link, but make sure you did write it in your school Google. Otherwise, I'll have to ask for permission. I'll never get to see it. That's a pain in the butt. If I have to like track you down to get this, I'm going to give you a 0 for the assignment. I'm not going to work harder than you. So if you do it in a Google Doc, make sure you did it in your school apps.district196.org account. And then when you share with me, I should be able to see it. Submit your work to this assignment, and it's actually technically due tomorrow. So it's part of your catch-up work. But if you're in class with me today, you have a full half an hour to do this. I bet you can get it done. All right, there's your work for today, everyone. This is your second video. So at this point, get to work, turn your stuff in, and we'll see you on Thursday. I will have a optional First Chapters Wednesday's work for tomorrow. All right, take care, everyone.